All right. Let's get it kicking with the NBA trade deadline. It's a little bit over a month away right now. And we know there's going to be a lot of shakeups. There's only been like two trades all season, and one of them was Rajon Rondo going to the Cavs. So I got these split up into buyer/contending teams, and then teams who are just trying to sell off dead stock right now. So let's start with the Chicago Bulls. Why? Because they're number one in the East. Why? Because y'all not talking about them enough. Why? Because they're still underrated. And
Yeah. That
look.
boy DeMar getting his shine. He don't
Yes,
care.
he
Like, yeah,
is.
getting
Yes,
his
he
shine.
is.
Yeah.
Bulls are in a great place because of this,
Yeah.
right? And I
Yeah.
feel like for the trade deadline, a lot of people are like looking for big names for the Chicago Bulls. We're like, can we get a Miles Turner? Can we get a Jeremy Grant? And I say, nah, fuck all that. Like, seriously, fuck all that. Like, the chemistry on this team right now is so good. All the players fit together so well that I am not willing to trade any core piece of this team for an upgrade. All we really need is a backup 4 or 5 that can give us athletic defensive minutes and is a great rebounder. That's it. I don't need a big name. I don't need a flashy name. I don't care if you ever heard a dude. If he grabs boards and plays defense and don't make that much money,
yeah,
that's all we really need. So, like, people are talking about trading Kobe White. Leave Kobe White alone. That boy is a bucket getter. Off the bench, he's like the type of Lou Will Spark that the Bulls kind of get off that bench as most likely a seventh man when Caruso is healthy. So I think you got to try to package things around.
That's another one.
Caruso. Y'all ain't want to pay that boy. We said cut the check.
And they balling.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Look, I think we got to make packages around Derrick Jones Jr., who has about $10 million in salary, and like Troy Brown, who gives us another $5 million in salary. Absent that, we got to use our picks to make something happen. And we are actually in a very good place outside of the stipend rule because we have 2 first-round picks in 2022.
Yeah.
We can give up the Portland pick, but we can't give up our own. And the Portland pick, the way Portland is looking, and Dame just got surgery, looks like a juicy ass pick right now.
Yeah. I mean, well, we'll talk about Portland a little bit later, but I think, like you said, with the way the NBA looking, period, we probably gonna have this conversation a lot as we talk about the trade deadline. It's not gonna be a lot happening because it really shouldn't be. Like you said, like some small pieces here or there. You're gonna see how you can play with some draft picks, but it's like the NBA is a lot younger now. Like those top level big name stars, they aging out. So that's why you see teams like the Phoenix Suns, see teams like the Bulls, even still with the Bucks, like teams that are like well put together, that chemistry guys, you know what I'm saying? Like they just work well together, and like there's no reason to shake that up when you have like success based on that alone.
Especially because of COVID. Like, the teams that are struggling a lot, you haven't really got to see your whole roster really gel yet. So, like, now you like all the hope that we have for the plan. We didn't get to see the plan work out. I think we got to target guys like Jakob Portal from the Spurs. Like, he would be a great 5, give us backup minutes. He's 7 feet plus, right?
Always good to have a 7-footer.
That's what I'm talking about.
To have a 7-footer.
Backup 5 behind Vooch that can defend the rim, grab boards. He already has chemistry with DeMar from the Spurs from before that. Like, I like that type of a player. I also like a guy like Richaun Holmes from the Kings. Like, a lot of people are talking Marvin Bagley Jr., keep that. I'm cool on it. Like, no, like, it's real. Like, I ain't even got nothing against Marvin Bagley Jr., but, like, we don't need, like, a super young dude who is trying to, I guess, affirm their draft status and get those minutes and wants to have a bigger role. We need a guy that's really to fill in.
Want to prove themselves.
Yeah, I'd even take a Christian Wood, right? But I don't know if, like, that might be a little rich. Like, we give up a first round pick. I give up a second too and package DJJ for salary and take a Christian Woods type of guy. And that's what I'm thinking. The Bulls need to get like a guy that can play at the 4 or 5, can fill a role, doesn't mind coming off the bench. But if we're talking guys like Richaun or Wood, they can fill that starting 4 spot because P will hurt. Now,
yeah, one of them trades that, you know, it ain't gonna make no headline, but you know, it bolsters it in ways that, you know, I mean, you really only gonna see on the court.
Exactly. Like we don't need
Nothing
nothing
big.
flashy. This
Nothing
team don't
big.
need nothing flashy at all.
Yeah, let it rock.
That's what I'm talking about. So let's talk about your Lakers because they are also in the buyer's position as well. And bro, what y'all need? Y'all need shooting. Y'all need defense. Y'all, like what
Well,
don't y'all?
I think this is the issue. Even before we ask what we need, what can we get?
Yo, and
We
for
like
what?
exactly like it ain't nothing that's gonna be able to be given up. And to be clear, 76ers had already pointed out that no, they're not interested in any Russell Westbrook trade, which that's it. Like really, like I mean, if the Sixers aren't trying to come up off of Ben Simmons with those circumstances, then bro, that's it. And so, as a Laker fan, I'm resigned to I'm really resigned to our fate.
Like this is your roster going
Like
forward.
this is and to be for real, on a matter of principle, right? I think LeBron should not do to Russell Westbrook what he did to Dwayne Wade. No, that was fucked up.
Like
He
leave?
should, yeah, like, well, not leave. I'm talking about when Dwayne Wade went to the Cavaliers and shit wasn't working out, and they just blew like it was Dwayne
Oh, he
Wade,
traded Dwayne off.
Derrick Rose, that team, right? The way that they kind of LeBron and them was just like, yep, all right, it didn't work out. Nah, bro, like this is your experiment. You got to see this shit through. You feel me? And really, it ain't no sending Russell Westbrook back to Oklahoma. You feel me? It ain't that. This is it. We have to do this. You know what I mean?
It is tough.
If it was any moment, any time for you to be like, this is going to, I'm going to destroy any debate about whether or not I'm the best player to ever play basketball. It'll be, bro, getting to the conference finals with this team. And we shouldn't even be saying that because Anthony Davis was supposed to be like that guy. It wasn't supposed to be Bron. So in terms of the
Have you
trade,
ever seen that before? Lakers fans said this so much. Bron said this so much. But like, at what time did you really see Anthony Davis be that guy that could take you to the promised land? Like after y'all won that championship, everybody was like 80 top five, 80 top five. And I
because
was
he
like, what
showed
are y'all
signs of it.
smoking?
Because he showed signs of it. Yeah, that's the.
Did he
But
though? He showed signs that he can be a prolific player at every level he's ever played at. But he ever showed signs of I will carry this team to a championship?
he showed the talent that could. He had the
Always.
talent that could.
Yeah.
But I mean, but that's why I say as a Laker fan, I'm kind of resigned to what it is to because like who knows what type of team we are. Like LeBron is playing center now. Like
I
what's
actually like that. I actually love that. Y'all
but
like have y'all
that
lost the game
speaks.
in here playing center yet?
But I don't think so. Actually, I think we may have lost one.
Just this week?
Yeah, we may have lost
No.
one, uh, but that's the thing. Like that's what we're saying. Okay, LeBron is center. Okay, yeah, that's a problem. You feel me? Like there's an identity issue. Like when we like finally Russell Westbrook has a game with no turnovers. Thank you. Like it's an identity issue. You know what I'm saying? And so right now it's just a bunch of like it's a motley crew of all stars really on their last hurrah. And there's no trade that can save it. You know, this is really Karl Malone and Gary Payton and them all over again. So
This
we
is
got to
this is
ride that
everything
out.
I was thinking. So you're not wrong. I was like, what are y'all gonna do? Y'all got all your money tied up in three dudes. Y'all are 18 mil in the luxury tax. Like, like I saw everybody hype over like Buddy Hield shaking Jeannie Buss' hand, and I was like, y'all know Buddy Hield make $22 million a year. Where the hell y'all getting $22 million for Buddy Hield?
Yeah, well, we need league minimums. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Buyout market.
yo, straight up, bro. Like we need them but they need us as bad as we need them. I mean, but currently the Lakers is just not. It's not a prime destination for nobody because it can't be fixed like that.
All
So
right, let's go to the Hornets, bruh. Because the Hornets, their wish list is one thing. We would really like a center who can roll to the rim
yeah,
effectively,
yeah,
catch lobs, and defend the rim. And
yeah.
apparently, Mason Plumlee is not it for these guys.
When was he? Mason Plumlee? When was he?
Look, you're right. You were talking about pick and roll earlier, right? And I'm like, we seen how effective LaMelo is throwing the lobs to dudes like PJ Washington, etc. They're not like huge guys, but like PJ Washington's a strong four. And like I want to see Melo with like a real lob threat center in the pick and roll. Like that would be
Yeah,
disgusting, right?
yeah. I mean, because they just don't have it. Like, I mean, you got what Gordon Hayward, Miles Bridges, like
They
again,
drafted
like
Kai Jones, but he a rookie, he young.
yeah. I mean, it's a young guy. That's a young guy. Yeah, he gets so you gotta figure out how to work him in and see what you can really get out of him. But they need an athletic forward, man. They need somebody that could I mean, they got Kelly Oubre Jr., but I
He a
mean, he's
three.
a
I
yeah. I
feel
mean,
like he's a three.
yeah, but he's a. I mean, but you know what you're gonna get out of him. You know what I mean? Like you're not like he's not about to, you know, take over games consistently. Like you really need somebody that Melo could play off of, like play off their athleticism because the way he playing right now is, you know, he come in the youngest ball brother being the best out of all of them. Like listen,
He
like
nasty.
I'm a Lonzo fan. I'm a Lonzo fan. Melo though,
Different.
built for real, for real.
Yeah, Melo has like dumb superstar, like top 5 league player potential. And like I feel like getting that real center for this team takes them to the next level. And I like have 3 tiers for the Hornets when they think about like a center, which will probably resolve around them having to move Plumlee, maybe Ish Smith. And they're in a good spot cap wise. But the tier 1 is like Miles Turner, right? Like Miles Turner, we know he is for sale, right? We know he is a guy that can get up there, defend the rim, is almost consistently in like top of the league in blocks, can catch the lob, and still has an outside shot. Like that part is so underrated, which means he keeps the floor spaced. Like y'all gotta go after this dude. And the
Yeah,
best part about
he
the
wasting away in Indiana.
and
Yeah,
the
he
best part
wasting away
about
in
the pay,
Indiana.
they want to be trash. Like they told everybody, they was like, "Yo, our goal is to be as-tastic for the foreseeable future and stack picks like OKC."
Right.
So,
Yeah.
you know, like, so they don't really want great players back. They're not interested in great players back. You could give them a Plumlee or an Ish Smith and a first round pick, right? And they
yeah.
will take that type of a thing for a Miles
Yeah.
Turner,
I mean,
right?
yeah, especially them picks, stack them up. I mean,
Mm,
if you added him as talent to like really just that missing piece, like stack them picks up. Like, because it really ain't no point. You really, as the Hornets, you got your young guy, you got your future. Right now, you need some type of like older veteran, you know what I'm saying, status, veteran, like really star player. That I mean, I feel like Miles Turner ain't never really been able to get the shine that he deserved.
because
I
they played
mean,
him next to
injuries in
Sabonis. Yo,
the
like they played 2 dudes that should be at the 5 next to each other. Like
it's
they
Indiana.
love that. They
It's
love that
Indiana.
shit. And like if you can't get a Miles Turner, which I feel like you should, like you can go a step down. A guy like Yusuf Nurkic, who we know is also going to be on the table from like the Trailblazers. I think
Mm-hmm.
like if you're going to step down to like that tier 2 Yusuf Nurkic style guy, this is like, second round pick status, right? You might be able to give up like 2 seconds instead of a first, get like Yusuf and like some salary dump. And then like my third tier of guys, and these are the guys that like I think don't require much capital to move out, and it's like you ain't really swing for the fences, but like a Mo Bamba style guy who's coming up on his contract in Orlando, they don't want to pay him. Montrezl Harrell, who's gonna come up on his contract coming out of the Wizards, right? A guy that they don't want much back for because they're not sure they could pay dude, right? So
Right.
that type of thing. That's like your tier 3. That's like you saw the problem, you try to fix it. You ain't try to do much. And I feel like those are kind of like where I see the Hornets. Like the Hornets getting the center would be huge for them, right? Now we got like
They
what's
need
up?
a body, some athletes. They need some more athletes.
Uh-huh. The last team I want to talk about in this area, like this, like I think they are like trying to buy to contend, and I don't think this team should be trying to buy to contend anymore. But it's the Boston Celtics. All right, look, like the Boston Celtics need an A+ point guard that distributes first and can really run their offense, and a solid four-man. And that's going to be much easier said than done because no matter what people say, Boston is like, we ain't moving Jason Tatum and we ain't moving Jaylen Brown.
I mean, because it's you got to understand. You got to understand when you have the Oklahoma cities that you can look at and say, "Damn, y'all gave up 3 MVP players." What do you don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be that guy. You make that work. You make that work.
Okay, OKC did it because they was cheap. Like they weren't even trying to make their team better. They was like, you know what? We not gonna pay James Harden
They're
even
trying to
though
make
he's
them worse,
fantastic.
right? But
Right?
they pay Surge though. They pay Surge.
Yes. Yes, but it's like that's ridiculous. Like they like the thing is like, for the amount of money James wanted, because James wasn't even an established player, you could have went into the luxury tax. You was cheap and you decided not to. And that's what cost them like a dynasty, basically. Because like think about it, if they sign up James long term before James is James, like they could get James long term for like mid level money at that point. Because like
Yeah,
Houston didn't really have to pay James until like he really developed into the all-star MVP style caliber player he is.
right,
So
right.
like you looking at like we trying to move Marcus Smart, we trying to move Josh Richardson, maybe Dennis Schroeder to a contending team because he's like on a 1-year deal, and like I bet they pray they can maybe move Al Horford, but that's never gonna happen.
No, but like, who's gonna take that? Who's gonna?
Okay,
But
see again. Yeah,
but I think that I just think the issue with the when it comes to point guards is that it's they come at a premium. You know what I mean? And like to say like that's what you need, it's like damn. Well, yeah, well, we got to figure something else out because I mean you got the talent that you got in Tatum and Brown, so it's really figured like they for whatever reason they have not been able to maximize that at all. Like you add Kyrie, I was hoping Kimba would have been a better look. You feel me? Like so that really all of that was disappointing given the talent that they've had. And I mean, really, unless you're willing to give up like Jason Tatum, or you're not giving up Jason Tatum, unless you're willing to give up Jaylen Brown for like some like close equivalent in terms of from the guard position, like somebody that could really like facilitate the offense, set them up, have them looking straight, bro. Like I mean, they in a similar situation with the Lakers where they have the talent, they just not willing to give it up.
yeah. I mean, like Celtics wish list for me, and like this is like I can't explain how far fetched this is, but it's as close as I could get to reasonable. Is trying to go after the DeJounte Murray. I don't think the Spurs will let DeJounte Murray go, right? But like, if you give up enough picks and the Spurs are interested in rebuilding, right? It's going to require significant draft capital. You could try to get DeJounte Murray. Like his salary currently could swap straight with Marcus Smart. It's just about like how much draft capital are you willing to give up to get a player like him? Because DeJounte Murray averages like 9 assists. He is a point guard that slashes, can be effective from outside, inside, can really set guys up and unstick the ball from their stars' hands. But like, like 2 first. Like I don't think for Marcus Smart in the first, like the Spurs are like, sure, let's give up DeJounte Murray. Are you willing to give up 2 first for a guy like DeJounte Murray? I don't think that
Yeah,
they are willing to do that.
I mean, but because they're still as much as they would hate to admit it, like y'all building, bro. Like y'all really don't have a clear like foundation, a clear way forward, right? Like you've had your like your team guys, like the Marcus Smart, like these guys that are really good for like the chemistry, like it's a like we a tight fit, right? But once they brought Kyrie in and kind of upset that, they was never able to gel back to what that was. So really, like you got this core talent that you're trying to build around. You brought in these pieces that haven't worked. You feel me? And so the only thing you can hope is that Jason Tatum can become like the older, more seasoned, like okay, now like let's just settle in the fact that this is my team. Like we all You know what I'm saying? Working together towards moving that direction. Because it don't like that leadership portion. Like even bringing in like a young point guard. Like what is like who is the true leader of the Boston Celtics? Shout out to Toya, man. Like that's our squad
Yeah,
too.
that is his squad. Yeah. Like that's the thing. Jason Tatum, to be a true leader, I think needs to be willing to defer on a lot of shots that he can take to make not his play, but the best play, right?
Mm-hmm.
Becoming a more willing passer. Like if Tatum becomes a more willing
He
passer,
was mentored by Kobe,
that I
man.
know,
What?
I know, but that is your only chance, right? The ball gets in his hands and he's like, I'm shooting this motherfucker every
Yeah.
time. And that's the real problem. And that's why they feel like a point guard is what you need, because you need somebody that can run that offense and take the ball out of his hands, but then set him back up for easier shots. And like once he believes in like a guy to get him those easier shots, he'll probably willing to give up the ball a little bit more because he knows it's coming back. And when it comes back, he's getting a shot that looks better, feels better, etc. But that's
Yeah.
not how they play right now. Him and Jaylen Brown just take turns playing hero ball. Yeah, it's gonna be difficult. I think the Celtics are kind of in a really tough in between, like no man's land.
Yeah. They're building, bro. They're building. I don't want to say rebuild because like they're not. It's not a hard refresh, right? Like because they got that core, but what they realizing is like the what they've been putting around them is not working. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, but so then we got to talk about sellers, bro. And like the first seller I want to talk about is obviously the 76ers, because like Ben Simmons, right? Like, like they like another report came out today where there was like, yeah, the Sixers and Ben Simmons representatives met up today, and the conclusion was nothing has changed. Like he's still for to sit out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What does that mean?
Yeah, like they're like nothing changed. We still want an all-star caliber player. Nobody's offering it. He's still not gonna play. Like Dame don't seem to be on the table, and is about to have surgery. Like Bradley Beal still don't seem like he's on the table. They talking about trying to package Tobias Harris and him at the same time. How you can make that money work seems impossible absent like a 4 or 5 team deal. Like it seems like no man's land for the Sixers. Like this looks like it's your roster and it's going to be your roster going forward. Good luck.
Look around. Look at the landscape, right? NBA is turning the leaf. We're in a new era. I don't know what we call this era yet, right? But we are in a new era. You feel me? The Suns, the Phoenix Suns, you know what I mean, was in the finals against the Bucks. Like, think about that. The Phoenix Suns were in the finals against the Bucks. That's some 60, 70, or when was the Suns introduced into the league? Like, what, 70, whatever? You feel me?
60s was the Bucks' last time winning this chip, I want to say.
Yeah, it was the last time the Bucks went in the chip, but I'm just even those two teams being competitive, yeah, I mean like championship caliber teams, man. We in a whole new era. And so what we seeing is like a lot of draft picks are starting to gel. Like a lot of high level teams, like what you see with the Suns. But then you also have the Nets, where they got their core guys, but then they got a lot of guys around them that work. Bucks, guys around them that work. So it's like when you have like this type of chemistry around the league, the Bulls, when you got this type of chemistry around the league, like why are we gonna upset that for a guy? First off, we know he can't shoot. Like that's some whole shit. We can't even focus on being a championship team when like one of our core scorers, we got to go through a whole psychological reevaluation. And I don't know what it is about these young guys, like the Markelle Fultz and the Ben Simmons. Like, bro, like basketball was always about shooting the ball. Even if it wasn't threes, it was always about shooting the ball. So like the fact that like you don't have your shot down to the point where you completely abandon it, like that's resources we got to dedicate to getting that fixed before we can even consider ourselves a contender.
Something about Philly, yo. Something about Philly. Like the Ben Simmons thing is odd because like in the summer he got the wettest jumper ever, and then as soon as the season starts, it's gone. Like even Fultz though, once he got out of Philly, he started shooting.
His workout tapes was like Instagram models.
He was really putting on, like for real. Look, all right. So then we got like people like the Rockets who they still like the verdict on John Wall is in. Like, ain't nobody traded for John Wall. Just free my nigga John Wall, buy him out his contract, and let him hoop somewhere else. Like that's just it.
Yeah,
Like
it's
that's
like,
just it.
but where?
Like free, like
Where?
nowhere. Like free,
Because
buy him out, and free John Wall. You ain't got no choice.
but what is it? What's in it for them
Uh,
though? Like,
basically, you paying John Wall now, and you pay him what like $40-some million a year to not play because you do not want to give him minutes. Like he tried to come back and be like, "Yo, I'll play in any role. I just love basketball," and it was like, "No, we
well, I
good."
mean, because that's what I'm saying. Like the NBA is at a place where like you're on the verge of competing, or like you got to start fresh. Like we got to figure it out. You know what I'm
It
saying?
used to started fresh.
Right, it's fresh. You feel me? And so the teams that are competing, they don't want to like add some new element that you now we got to figure out how to introduce you. But then the teams that are starting fresh is just like, yo, we can't, you like you working at 70% of what you came into this motherfucker doing. So like we can't do nothing with that. So it's a like John Wall is for real than like purgatory. Like it's
Buy
really
him
his.
out. You got to buy. He's in Kevin Love purgatory. It's like teams want
Oh,
you, teams don't want you for the
for
number
the
that's
money, yeah.
attached to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like they're just like, look, when y'all buy them out, we will come around, and until then, you can hold that. They're like the Blake Griffin land with the Pistons. You know
Yes,
what
I
I
like
mean?
look, somebody will get him for the bare minimum, right?
Yeah, like
Somebody will get him for the bare minimum.
they're like, we will be patient. Like,
Look, fuck around. Look, he'll fuck around, end up with the Nets like a motherfucker. Play,
so, or,
play Kyrie home games.
exactly. I like, the Pacers are selling, right?
Yeah,
Like they want to get off of Sabonis or Turner, Karis LeVert. Like I already told you how I feel about Miles Turner to the Hornets. I'm still in
right.
love with Karis LeVert to the Pelicans. I already have a video on the YouTube channel about that. Y'all can go check that one out. The Kings, the Kings are trying to sell like hotcakes. They're like, yo, we might give you Buddy Hield, we might give you Harrison Barnes, we might give you Marvin Bagley Jr. I mean, like, if the price is right, De'Aaron Fox might be out there. Like, what do the Kings do? They can't compete, but they won't fully rebuild, and now they're coming up on a lot of like high draft picks, needing to get that second contract. Like,
I mean, really, you really start fresh again, like again. I mean, because the Kings are one of those organizations to where they one of them can't get right organizations. It's just like it don't matter the talent. It don't matter. Like Buddy Hield, 40% for his career from the 40%, bro. We literally talking about like we know Steph Curry is the greatest shooter of all time. Buddy Hield is shooting 40%.
yeah, Buddy Hield shoots at a Steph Curry clip for like 3 straight seasons.
Right. And so, like, when you have that level of talent, like De'Aaron Fox is no slouch like that. Like, I mean, again, a young athletic guy. When you have that type of talent and do nothing with it, like make no. For a minute there, I started worrying about the Suns, right? Like, because I started looking at Devin Booker and them guys and being like, oh, like this is like, why ain't nothing happen? And then to see that, like, them turn that corner, you would expect that with the talent that the Kings got, you would see that, but you don't. You feel me? And so it's like even before they figure out what's going on with their roster, that's just one of them. Like, are we making good business decisions? Are the people up top? Like, do we have the right guys? Because it's I mean, we're gonna talk about football, but it's one of those. It's one of those. It's like Jacksonville. You know what I'm saying? just not just
where talent goes to die.
Where talent goes to die, bro. Like, but we'll talk about that, man. We'll talk about football in a minute.
All right, let's actually just keep it moving on to football real quick. Thanks for stopping by. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, leave a subscribe so you don't